ESG is not anything new, but I think the confluence of various factors is what's leading us to the moment that we have today. From the news that we're hearing around kind of environmental issues, global warming, to the social injustice issues, arising from kind of recent events in the United States, but then also just thinking about the COVID impact. And so, ESG is really focused on insights directly on a company's strategy, risk, and shareholder value. And through the reporting of ESG, it really provides the stakeholders with transparent, consistent, measured, and credible data on a company's progress. We hear a lot of companies, talking about their commitments to sustainability and social issues, and being able to have consistent ESG metrics really help us measure how a company is progressing against those goals. It really looks at a company's full risk profile from a business lens and really help to answer whether any of its environmental, social, or governance practices and any associated risks will impact long-term shareholder value creation. There's just been better understanding of climate-related risks. And so as a result, we're seeing stakeholders, in particular kind of investors and institutional investors, just demanding companies to integrate ESG more into their strategies. And so, this shift in investor demand is also just a profound change in how ESG is viewed. In the past, the interest has been more kind of from a corporate social responsibility, and that was more focused from a not-for-profit perspective, but we're now seeing ESG factors really become increasingly part of how investors are really evaluating a company. COVID-19 really put a spotlight on the S&G and ESG. Regulators, investors, and consumers have all expressed increased interest in understanding how companies are responding to COVID and what impact it's had on their workforce, their operations, and their business continuity. And so with this heightened attention comes not only a need for transparent disclosures, but also how are we holding companies accountable for the commitments that they're making. We are starting to see more and more companies request a level of assurance around their ESG metrics. And a lot of that is driven by not only investor demand, but also just management wanting to feel the same level of comfort with the data that they're putting out into the public domain, just because they know that they're being held more accountable. I think auditors are uniquely positioned to provide this service. The reality is that auditors are really the only group of people that can really provide the level of assurance, whether it's limited assurance or reasonable assurance. And so, as investors are wanting to have greater confidence in what companies are putting out, similar to the financial information that they put out today, I think we're going to start to see more and more demand for auditors to play a role in providing assurance over the metrics that are being disclosed. If you asked me 22 years ago when I was graduating from college whether accountants would have the ability to have an impact on environmental and social matters, I probably wouldn't have ever believed it. However, with transparency, really leads to action, and companies and investors wanting confidence with the information that's being disclosed. And that's where I view the role the accountants play.